If you remember, I thought last week's Impact episode was really, really, really good. Really thought it was really good. Left me a little heartened to see what they were doing with last week's show. So this week, on the one hand, I was really hoping that TNA was going to give me another really good Impact. On the flip side, I always kind of have that reservation with TNA is they give me just enough good and then they'll do something bad. I'm sorry, they'll do something bad. Sorry. Anyways. Now, thankfully, I did not think that this week's Impact episode was bad. Bad at all. I actually thought it was quite good again. Not quite sure if it was as good as last week's show, but a very, very good show again, no question about it. And to me, it really kicks off with Bobby Roode, Kurt Angle. The way they've done this is very good. The way they've built this feud to a blow-off point next week at Final Resolution, very good. What I love the most is Bobby Roode's angry, aggressive heel promo. Even though you kind of package him as somewhat of a little bit of a cowardly heel and sometimes a cerebral heel, it's nice to see a non-standard cookie cutter today's wrestling business heel. It really is. To see an aggressive, angry, hungry heel that says, no, fuck you, I'm better than you, and I'm so much better than you, and I could prove it. 2 out of 3 falls next week at Final Resolution. It was very, very refreshing to see that. No question about it. I love that. And that got the show off to a very, very good start. Now, does anybody, that means anybody, even like if you're talking about internet fan, casual fan, mainstream fan, if TNA really has any mainstream fans, does anybody have any doubt that Joseph Park is Abyss? Taken an awful long time to get to this point. I'm not really sure where they're trying to get to this point. We just kind of need to get to the point. My thing is that I still like the Joseph Park character, so I really don't want to see the Joseph Park character go away. Maybe we could have just gotten rid of Abyss entirely. That's what I'm just saying, even though Abyss, I guess, is still technically the television champion. Austin Aries is the new X Division champion. And here's the thing, is I know this is going to aggravate and incense Fool Killer tremendously because he loves to hug on the nuts of one Chris Sabin. But the bottom line is Chris Sabin is a mediocre X Division champion in the sense of the way that TNA actually features him on television. Austin Aries is going to get featured more. He's going to be featured in a more important way. Henceforth, it elevates the profile of the X Division Championship a little bit and therefore makes him a better X Division champion than Chris Sabin. I do love the fact that through this whole thing where they've turned Chris Sabin heel, they have actually managed to keep Velvet Sky face. And, they're trying to use Velvet Sky as Chris Sabin's heater in a way. And she got involved, so I'm curious to see where they go with that. But it added a new element, if you will, to Chris Sabin. Something that's not bad at all. What the fuck? Another thing, you've got Jeff Hardy Magnus. Next week, they're going to be facing off in a Dixieland match in the finals of the TNA World Heavyweight Championship Tournament. I thought the segment was okay, maybe a little too much Dixie talky. You could actually see here where Jeff Hardy's improved a little bit as a talker. A little bit. He's never going to be great. He's never going to talk a bunch of asses into the seats. But you don't necessarily have to. Whereas Bret Hart used to be terrible, terrible early on in his career in the mic, very nervous, and you could tell he didn't know what to do, he didn't know where he was going, to the point where, as he evolved and he got to about 97 and later, he became passable on the mic. He was ultimately, most importantly of all, able to get his point across, which is the most important thing of all. Everybody could do promos in different ways, and some people are better at this, some people are better at that. The most important thing is that whatever you say resonates with the audience, and they accept whatever you're saying, and they understand whatever you're saying. That's the most important thing. But yeah, so again, I think that's going to be a really good match next week. A main event, you would assume, to Final Resolution. And they've done this very, very well. Not bad at all. I keep saying that. One of my highlights of this show, and maybe the highlight of highlights this week, has to be Rockstar Spud. Him patrolling and cruising through Gainesville, Georgia, sitting there and singing, trying to go from a British accent, talking like this, like they do down in Gainesville, Georgia. Yuck, yuck. Fucking Rockstar Spud is awesome as the chief of staff. See, this is a clear example to me. Yeah, you could have brought him in and had him been a wrestler and just been another fucking guy. But imagine now how many layers you've added to the personality of the character and the gimmick by having him do this chief of staff shit first. This is awesome. This is outstanding. And he was outstanding this week. Every time I saw him, I perked up a little bit because I'm like, man, this shit's going to be good. And it was very good. It wasn't bad at all. Damn it. I know. Fuck you. You know, when I said I wanted new life in the Knockouts division, that didn't mean I wanted you to go to the Billy Goat Farm. Gail Kim is issuing open challenges to anybody not on the Impact roster. And, you know, you would sit there and then ODB runs out and you're like, oh, that's kind of stupid. And it would have been like, okay, that's stupid, but I could live with it. But no. We had to be break this right. Looked like Goatface got a facelift. That's what it looked like to me. Of all the people, and you're going to try and bring her back as a babyface? Nobody likes Madison Rain. I'm sorry. If I wanted to cheer for a billy goat, I'd go to a damn petting zoo and clap for the billy goat. I don't want to see Madison Rain ever. Damn you, TNA. This could have been a great show. And you freaking ruined that feeling for me by doing this mad shit with Madison Rain. Fuck. Here's another question I have. What the fuck was Bully Ray talking about when he sit there and knocked out Anderson? What the hell was that? That was like Ultimate Warrior odd, but not being Ultimate Warrior cool. It was just odd. It was just very strange. I don't know what the fuck he was talking about. Oh boy, let's keep mentioning aces and eights, because we really need to do that, right? Let's go with Bully Ray versus Mr. Anderson again, because we really need to do that, right? Come on, TNA. Do some different shit with some different people. As many things in the past that you've chosen to never follow up on, and sometimes very good things you've chosen not to follow up on and completely forget about and completely dismiss and write out of your history. You couldn't do that with Bully Ray and Mr. Anderson? I don't think anybody would be mad. I think everybody, frankly, would be very happy. Let it go. Let it go. Do all of us a favor. Let it go. Now, the main event of this show, obviously, was Feast or Fired, a gimmick that I always liked. Some do, some don't. I happen to like it. It's something different. It's something unique. It's been a while since we've seen it. I think it was a good time to bring it back in. Your Feast and Fired winners, you've got EC3, Zima Ion, Chavo Guerrero, and Gunner. Now, when you're trying to figure out who's going to get what here, you would have to think that EC3 would get the world title shot, Zima Ion the X Division shot, and maybe Gunner the tag team shot, with Chavo getting fired. I mean, there's a couple of different things they could do here. I like this concept, though. It was interesting at the end that they decided to have Gunner be the one to turn on James Storm and grab the briefcase. It'd be really funny if it was either the world heavyweight title shot or the fired briefcase. But, you know, while the match isn't all that great, and I saw, like, Armando Alejandro Estrada there on Twitter talking about the fact that he thought it was stupid that Austin Aries was in this match, and I agree. You just won the X Division Championship. Why would you take any chances here in a Feast or Fire match? He said, well, why would you have any designated jobbers in this match? Hey, knock, knock, asshole. It's called the Royal Rumble. They have a couple of those every year. You know, not everybody could be a star in this match sometimes. And frankly, you could take Furnham and Barnes and you could write a little story with them. And you could have actually had one of these guys get one of the briefcases and give them an X Division title shot against Austin Aries. What would have been so wrong with that? That would have been something different. That might have been, heaven forbid, captivating television, interesting television, unique television, which is something that so many people in the wrestling business just clearly don't understand. You know, and as far as other people, you know, you get the whole concept. He's talking about these things got to make logical sense. Well, let me put it to you this way. If you have a little bit of money, but not very much, and somebody tells you you have a 25% chance to win $1 million, a 25% chance to win $250,000, a 25% chance to win $50,000, or a 25% chance to lose everything that you have, I think most people will look at it and say, I have a 75% chance to get something better than what I have. The odds are in my favor. I'm going to roll the dice and take the chance. So yes, this is realistic. Yes, this is believable. I understand, again, that people in the wrestling business don't understand what reality really is, but you're really going to tell me that with a 75% chance, you could either win $50,000, maybe 100 or 250,000, $1,000,000, that you wouldn't take that fucking chance? Even if it meant you had to lose all the money in your pocket, the other 25%? I think everybody would take that chance. Especially if you don't have much money to begin with. You're fucking broke. What's the difference? You're going to be broke afterwards. I've got a dog howling. She agrees with me and everything else. Bottom line is, I thought this was another good Impact show this week, and I cannot wait, and emphasize again, cannot wait for Final Resolution next week.